Hey, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Honda DreamLab channel where dreams are imagined. I am Action Jaxon, the host of Power Of. It's a series where myself and the guests go in depth into some of the forces that are shaping our current popular culture. Today on the Power of Hype, we're taking a deep dive into streetwear. Our guest today is a dreamer, business owner, producer, and YouTuber, and I'm running out of titles because there's so many. Please welcome Richie Lee,
Action
my guy.
Jaxon. What up, man?
Nothing much, dude. So glad to have you on the DreamLab, dude. How you been? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Just flown back into Seattle last night. I'm ready to go. Excited. I was telling you guys I don't really do this too often, so yeah, man. I'm ready to dive into it.
Hell yeah. All right, that's great, man. That's fantastic. So, getting to know you a little bit, Richie Lee. I know obviously you started a review channel several years ago when you were, in fact, also broke at the time.
Oh yeah.
What inspired you to create that channel? Like what began it all?
So many different elements. You know, I got to give a huge shout out to David and Andrew, the Fung brothers. They really helped out with the whole, really providing me the reasoning why you should start a YouTube channel and really what it means to a lot of, kids growing up that look like me. I was that kid growing up where I would point out anyone that would have some resemblance to me, I was like, oh, he's Asian on a basketball team, I'm following him, you know what I mean? Even down to like Yao Ming, and just like it meant so much to me growing up. And they really kind of reminded me like, hey man, doing a YouTube channel, it's much more than doing pranks and doing like what's hot and making viral videos. It means a lot because this is what the kids are on. This is a platform that a lot of people tune into. TV at the time was like, I don't know how TV is now, but TV at the time was definitely competing heavy with YouTube and trying to get the eyeballs away from YouTube. And I was like, man, there's a lot of people on this platform, and they were like, hey, you could just be a really strong representation for Asians and Vietnamese people. So I started off doing a lot of cultural content. I used to do like covering our food and just things like that.
Really?
And that is really, I didn't really start off doing the sneakers and streetwear stuff. I used to do more like cultural content. And so it's just been a really cool ride. So I got to give a huge shout out to them. They really, they're a big reason why I'm in the position I am today. So yeah.
What changed in your mind to go to streetwear? How did that transition happen?
Man, so when it comes to the cultural stuff, there is definitely a cap, and I had to really pinpoint, like, if I'm gonna make this a career, you really got to differentiate what you're trying to do from a personal standpoint and what you're trying to do as a real career, And I really saw something special with the sneakers and streetwear lane when I was doing it. There was just something different about the feedback that I was getting, and people really understood that I had a really unique insight and perspective when it came to the clothing and sneakers. So I was like, man, not that I'm leaving my people behind, but I gotta pivot a little bit, and I can still rep for you guys doing this, but I gotta cater my channel now to a little bit more focus, which was sneakers and streetwear.
Well, you're talking about having 100 pairs of shoes. So I found out that you essentially sold most of your collection to get the channel going. Like, did you feel like that was a sacrifice to do? Like, was that easy?
Yes, sir.
Or like, were there some grails you were like, I gotta get this video out?
At the time, man, that's everything you got. That's like your bread. That's like your baby, your collection, your everything you've worked for, So at the time, it was difficult. Hindsight, it was what needed to be done, but I sold the collection. So I sold those, and definitely, man, I had that. I think I had about like 15K or 15 or 16K, and I flew down to LA. I moved in with David and Andrew, one-way ticket down there to pursue our dreams, and it was just a really special time. So I know I'm going off course a little bit, but to answer your question, was it hard to sell the collection? At the time, yes, but hindsight, looking back, nah, man, it was probably best decision I've ever made. My thing was like, hey, I'm gonna hit them with an approach where I'm gonna give you cheaper alternatives to the look, but you're not gonna be paying for it. I would go to like all these fast fashion stores, and I would really showcase the pieces that really give you the look without breaking the bank. And that was like a huge part of the channel and what we were doing. So
we're fast forwarding to 2022. How would you say streetwear has changed from 2008 and 9, which is when I graduated high school? How has it changed now? What's so different about streetwear?
It's a lot of it's a lot of cut and sew, how things are sewn, as far as like how it drapes on your body, the fit of it. People are really, really tuned in to more of like a designer aspect rather than just a blatant graphic. And
yes,
now it's really cool to see like so many independent designers. I kind of compare it to like music in a sense that if you can produce music and get it out to the world on your own, you don't necessarily need the huge cosign of a major label, anything like that. There's a lot of independent designers right now that'll just design like 4 or 5 piece collections and drop it on their IG and get a quick bag, like sell it to their audience.
Yeah.
So you see a lot of that really, really creative stuff that is going on right now. Like, a lot of DIY type designs.
How do these little brands like yourself, you're making a couple of pieces, you want to do a little drop. How do you possibly do that? Like, is there like an avenue to make your own stuff and then sell it like in volume? How do you even do that?
Yeah, there's a couple approaches that you could take if you're a creator out there, a little bit smaller, and you don't know how to really get a collection down. One would be buying blanks online, buying blanks, and then going to like your local screen printer and having them put a design that you may or a graphic designer comes up with, and that is like the simplest way you could approach merch. That's kind of like the essence of merch. Throw a logo on and people know that you're repping that gamer or that YouTuber or whatever. And then there's another way that they are doing it right now, which has came a long way actually, which is the more like on demand. You could partner up with a company where they'll come up with designs for you, they'll handle your distribution, they'll handle your shipment and fulfillment, and they'll create the t-shirt as someone orders it. It's called like on demand, ready to go, print on demand or something like that.
Oh,
and back in the day, they used, like, a lot of gamers do it.
Why do you think thrifting is huge right now? Like, what made it so big among Gen Z and millennials?
It's just huge. I think a lot of people are just realizing, like I said earlier, you don't need to necessarily spend heavy dollars to get a dope look down. And the thrifting is a great resource to get a cool thing, make it a one-of-one, like, uniqueness and scarcity and rarity when it comes to a piece is huge. What better way to get it from a thrift store where you're just like, I don't know one other person that has this like bomber from the 1950s, that grandpa wore. What's a doper story than to get like a piece that 20,000 people have?
What is your then advice to some of these kind of aspiring entrepreneurs in the chat or YouTube or whoever who are kind of like doing their own thing, trying to make it happen? What's your advice to them in retrospect?
Man, I have like a trillion, but I would say just keep focused on what the mission is and don't get too caught up on what others are doing as far as like their style and maybe their approach to their channel. Like, really believe in the way you're doing it. Because when I started off, a lot of people weren't really doing my style, the top 5 lists and everything. They were doing more like reviews, and that's them. They can travel and have that convenience. But for myself, this is my situation. I got to stay home. I got to take care of the family. But that doesn't mean I can't create dope content on my own and not really collab with all these other people. So your own approach to your channel is your own approach, and really believe in it. So that's one thing. And your whole reasoning for starting your channel, you have that to fall back on and remind yourself of why you're even doing it in the first place. So for myself, it was to inspire, it was to motivate people that do look like me, people that don't have that traditional background. And I came from like literally grew up in public housing, like really low income family and everything. So you can, if you just remind yourself why you're doing it, who you're doing it for when times are tough, that might be the push that you need to get through those tough times when it comes to content creation.
Richie Lee, thank you so much for being a part of this. This was a ton of fun, man. I'm really, really glad you decided to come on.
Yeah, dope, man. Appreciate you. You're a dope host. Big thank you to
you.
Honda, everybody over at the team that brought us together.
I hope you were inspired to start something of your own from this conversation, and hopefully to keep it going and remember your why, as we kind of talked about earlier. So make sure to follow us at the Honda DreamLab right here, hit the little button down below, and stay tuned for our other series as well. We're super stoked about them and super stoked to have you see them. So keep on dreaming, and we'll see you next time on The Power Of.